The moment that little girl walked up to the millionaire's table in that dusty roadside cafe, nobody expected the entire room's mood to change in seconds. She held a broken toy horse in both hands as if it were made from fragile glass. The millionaire looked up from his coffee, surprised that someone so small approached him so bravely. Her voice trembled slightly, but her eyes were steady with determination and quiet hope. "Mister? Can you fix my toy? It was our last gift from Dad," she said softly. For a moment the cafe went silent except for the creaking ceiling fan above. The millionaire blinked slowly, clearly not expecting such a question during breakfast that morning. Around them cowboys paused mid-conversation, sensing something unusual was about to unfold. And right then, folks watching this story unfold might wonder why she chose him. Because sometimes life sends strangers together for reasons nobody can explain. Now picture the scene clearly, because this moment felt like something from an old Western tale. The cafe stood along a lonely highway surrounded by dry fields and faded wooden fences. Truckers, ranchers, and travelers often stopped there for strong coffee and cheap pancakes. The millionaire sitting in the corner booth looked completely out of place among dusty boots. His tailored jacket and polished watch shined under the dim cafe lights. Most people there assumed he was just another rich visitor passing through town quickly. But the little girl did not care about expensive suits or impressive bank accounts. All she saw was a man who looked calm, patient, and possibly kind enough. She placed the toy horse carefully on the table beside his untouched breakfast plate. And suddenly that small broken toy carried a story heavier than anyone expected. The millionaire slowly picked up the wooden horse and turned it carefully between his fingers. One wheel had snapped off, leaving the toy unable to roll across the floor anymore. The paint was faded, scratched, and clearly loved through years of childhood adventures. He looked at the girl again, noticing the dust on her shoes and worry in her eyes. "What happened to your father?" he asked gently, lowering his voice respectfully. The girl hesitated for a moment as if the answer carried more weight than words. "My dad passed away last winter," she said quietly, staring down at the table. "This toy was the last thing he gave me before he got sick." Her tiny fingers tightened nervously against the edge of the table. And suddenly that millionaire's morning felt very different from when it began. Now folks, here is something about wealthy people many strangers misunderstand completely. Money can buy comfort, security, and power, but it cannot erase certain memories. The millionaire stared at that toy horse longer than anyone expected him to. Something about the girl's words stirred an old memory deep inside his chest. Years ago his own father had given him a wooden toy train. He remembered the smell of sawdust in the workshop and warm laughter. That train had broken one summer afternoon and his father fixed it carefully. But soon after, life changed quickly and those moments disappeared forever. Seeing the little girl standing there brought those memories rushing back unexpectedly. And suddenly fixing a toy seemed far more important than business meetings. The millionaire leaned back slightly and studied the toy with careful attention. "I might be able to fix this, but it may take a little patience," he said calmly. The girl's face lit up immediately like sunrise over an open desert plain. She nodded quickly as if patience was something she already understood very well. Several customers nearby leaned closer, pretending to drink coffee while secretly watching. One old rancher whispered something to the waitress and smiled quietly afterward. The millionaire reached into his leather briefcase and searched through its contents slowly. Instead of contracts or documents he pulled out a small pocket toolkit. It was the kind engineers sometimes carry when traveling long distances. And right there in that simple cafe booth, the repair began. The girl sat quietly across from him while he carefully examined the broken wheel. He worked slowly, gently adjusting tiny screws with steady, experienced hands. The cafe returned to its normal sounds, but everyone kept glancing toward the booth. It was not every day people saw a millionaire fixing a child's toy. The girl watched every movement with wide, hopeful eyes and nervous excitement. Occasionally she whispered small stories about her father and their favorite games. She explained how the toy horse always won imaginary races around the kitchen table. The millionaire listened carefully, smiling faintly as he continued working patiently. Those simple stories seemed more valuable than any conversation he had yesterday. And the entire cafe felt warmer than before, though nothing else had changed. After several minutes he paused and looked at the toy thoughtfully. "The wheel needs reinforcement or it will break again very easily," he explained gently. The girl nodded even though she barely understood mechanical details or engineering solutions. He opened his briefcase again and removed a small metal washer from inside. Using careful pressure he secured the broken axle and tightened everything perfectly. The repair looked small but it made the toy stronger than before. A truck driver nearby quietly murmured appreciation for the precise craftsmanship. The millionaire wiped the dust away and rolled the toy across the table slowly. The little horse moved forward smoothly without wobbling even slightly. And the girl's reaction was something nobody inside that cafe would forget. Her eyes widened instantly and she clapped both hands together with pure joy. "It works again," she exclaimed loudly, causing several customers to laugh warmly. She picked up the toy horse and rolled it across the table again happily. For a moment the sadness she carried seemed to disappear completely. The millionaire leaned back in his seat and watched her reaction quietly. There was a softness in his expression nobody had noticed earlier that morning. Sometimes fixing something small repairs more than just broken wooden wheels. Sometimes it repairs a small piece of someone's heart as well. The girl looked up at him again with grateful shining eyes. But then she asked a question nobody in that cafe expected. "Mister, how much do I owe you for fixing my horse?" she asked seriously. The millionaire nearly laughed but stopped himself when he saw her sincerity. She reached into her pocket and placed 3 small coins on the table. "That's all I have right now," she added with shy determination. Several people around the cafe exchanged surprised glances after hearing that. The millionaire slowly pushed the coins back toward her small hands. "No payment needed, partner," he said with a friendly Western grin. "Your father already paid when he gave you such a wonderful memory." The girl thought about those words carefully for several quiet seconds. Then she smiled again in a way that brightened the entire room. Just when it seemed the moment was over, something unexpected happened next. The cafe owner approached the table holding a small dusty photograph frame. He placed it gently beside the toy horse and looked at the millionaire. "You might want to see this," the owner said quietly. Inside the frame was an old photograph taken years earlier in that same cafe. The picture showed a smiling man holding the exact same toy horse proudly. Standing beside him was the same little girl, much younger at the time. But there was another person in that photograph as well. A young engineer standing beside them, laughing happily during that moment. And the millionaire suddenly realized he recognized that face immediately. The engineer in the photograph was actually one of his former employees years ago. A hard-working mechanic who once helped design equipment for the millionaire's factories. He remembered the man clearly because of his dedication and quiet kindness. The mechanic had left the company unexpectedly after his daughter became seriously ill. The millionaire had always wondered what happened to that loyal employee afterward. Now he understood the truth standing right there in front of him. The little girl holding the repaired toy horse was that mechanic's daughter. The cafe grew silent again as the realization settled across the room. Sometimes the world feels enormous until moments like this reveal its strange connections. And the millionaire felt something shift deeply inside his heart. He gently asked the girl where she lived and who cared for her now. She explained that her mother worked long hours at a nearby grocery store. Money was tight but they tried their best to stay hopeful every day. The millionaire looked around the cafe slowly as he considered something important. He knew that chance meetings sometimes create opportunities nobody expects. Finally he knelt beside the girl so they spoke at the same height. "Your father was one of the best workers I ever had," he told her honestly. "And I think he would want someone watching out for his family." The girl did not fully understand but she listened carefully anyway. Because sometimes kindness begins with a simple promise between strangers. Before leaving the cafe, the millionaire handed the owner a business card quietly. He asked him to give the girl's mother his contact information later that evening. Not for charity, but for an opportunity that honored her father's hard work. He planned to offer her a stable job at one of his nearby companies. A position with fair pay, benefits, and enough flexibility to raise her daughter. The cafe owner nodded respectfully, understanding the importance of the gesture. The girl simply hugged her repaired toy horse close against her chest. She thanked the millionaire again with the innocent gratitude only children show. Then she skipped toward the door where sunlight spilled across the dusty floor. And the millionaire sat quietly for a moment, thinking about unexpected mornings. Now folks, stories like this remind us something powerful about everyday kindness. You never know when a small act might change someone's entire future forever. A simple toy repair became a moment that connected past, present, and hope. That little girl walked into a cafe carrying a broken toy and sadness. But she walked out carrying something stronger than before, a little more hope. And the millionaire left remembering that wealth means nothing without compassion. Sometimes the most valuable investments we make are in people, not companies. So if this story touched your heart even a little today, remember its message. Small kindness can echo far beyond the moment we choose to help. And that, my friends, is something the Wild West always understood. If you enjoyed this story and want more powerful tales just like this one, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next story. Hit the like button if moments of kindness like this deserve to be shared. And tell me down in the comments what you would have done in that cafe. Because your thoughts and stories make this community even stronger every day.